What is up, you guys? Coming to you live here on February 12th, 2025. I'm in my man cave in Portland, Oregon. So much to talk about in the world of rugby, including the ongoing fallout from the Warren Gatland saga. He quit, he was sacked, they mutually parted ways. Whatever you want to call it, 24 hours ago, Gatland left the Welsh operation. They have an interim coach, lots of rumors about who's going to step in, and then just today, Gatland's daughter sounded off on social media. I'm going to read what she said because it's a nice starting point to think about the legacy of Gatland, possibly a tarnished one, and also an invitation to think about what is going to be next for Wales. How do we bring the Welsh Dragon back to life? Right now, that dragon is in a coma, guys. He is passed out in the corner. His vitals are not looking good. We're going to talk about that, and I'm going to give you my suggestion for the next coach of Wales. And then we're going to talk about Rassie Erasmus. He's not going to be the coach of Wales. I'm sure they'd love that. Springboks don't want to lose him anytime soon. He broke the internet this week with a quote. We're going to dive into that. I'm going to talk about why Rassie was spitting truth, why his latest tweet resonated worldwide. I'm going to talk about how England can steal the Six Nations, and then we're going to touch on Super Rugby, which starts this weekend. But guys, let's get into the Wales drama. My God. Whew. Well, as you know, Gatland is gone. He's gone and he's not coming back. So let the postmortems begin. Someone well-placed to comment is his daughter, Gabby, and she had this to say. I want to read her quote that she posted on social media. She said, "I am so proud of all your successes, but what I am most proud of is that you returned to Wales to try and help them become a strong and winning nation again. Unfortunately, the issues were deeper than you could control, and the negativity that has come from not only the media, but ex-players who brought so much success, who you brought so much success to, is incomprehensible. How quick people are to forget how much you did for Welsh rugby is beyond me. The Welsh fans are the most passionate in the world, and I hope they can get behind the team for a better future. Time to come home." Yikes. Well, she's not wrong. I mean, when Gatland came back in 2022, he walked straight into a sex scandal and then a players' strike. Clearly, morale was at an all-time low. I don't even think Gatland understood how much of an uphill battle he was facing when he returned to coach Wales. I think the writing was on the wall in his first few days. But man, that morale must have just gotten lower and lower and lower. When you leave midway through a competition, that is an SHIT show. That is rock bottom. Wales went down to Italy on the weekend. Wasn't even close, really. I mean, Wales put some points on the board towards the end to make the scoreline a bit more flattering, but the Azzurri had them. Gats has gone 2 games into this Six Nations campaign. So who's stepping in? It's a guy named Matt Sherratt. He coaches Cardiff. Guess what? He's not going to stop coaching at provincial level even as he takes on the reins of this national team. He's going to be doing double duty. That's ambitious. I mean, they've given up on this campaign. Obviously, the wooden spoon is theirs. Almost certainly. They're facing Ireland soon. Good luck with that. Good luck with that with a head coach who's also got one eye on his provincial team. So who's going to step in after Matt? Well, there have been a few names thrown around. Simon Easterby would be one. He is the interim coach of the Irish, while the big man, Mr. Farrell, is getting ready to coach the British and Irish Lions. Huge itinerary down under. It's not just the Wallabies they're playing 3 times. They're going to play all the Super Rugby teams. They're going all over Australia, crisscrossing it. It's a Herculean task coaching that team. You got to bring the different cultures of 4 different nations together, build some combinations, play very far from home. Hostile crowds, although not too bad in Australia, let's be honest. He's got his work cut out for him. So Simon Easterby's in charge of the Irish portfolio. And he'd be a great get for Wales. In fact, Easterby actually has some ties to Wales through his wife. I just think that he wants to stay in the Irish setup. I think that this stint he is doing is an audition for a more full-time, extensive coaching gig with Ireland. Maybe a whole World Cup cycle. There's going to be a time after Farrell, when Andy Farrell steps away. I have a feeling he's going to want to stay in the setup. The name that intrigues me the most is Michael Cheika, mate. You remember him, the Aussie? I'm allowed to make fun of Aussies because I'm an Australian. I'm an Australian citizen, guys. Oh, Cheika. You know, he's an abrasive personality. He doesn't have a winning personality. Some of his press conferences were like nails on a chalkboard to me. I'm not big on that whole Aussie larrikin shtick. I think it can get pretty tired. Eddie Jones, another great example. But regardless of what you think of his personality, this was a guy who got the job done and got great results with virtually every team that he coached. Look at what he did with the Wallabies. He took them to a Rugby World Cup final in 2015. And he gave the All Blacks a huge scare in the last quarter. You thought for a second, oh my God, the Wallabies are going to somehow win it all. They didn't, thank goodness. But, man, when you look at where the Wallabies are now, a World Cup final, seems like another lifetime. He's done better than a whole plethora of Kiwi coaches have done with the Wallabies. Took Leinster to European title glory. And then he oversaw the Pumas when they put away the All Blacks. He's done magic with Argentina. So clearly this guy has some kind of personality issue. I don't want to cast aspersions here. I'm just speculating. I just see that he keeps on leaving or being asked to leave. There's a high churn rate with Cheika. He comes in, he gets the job done. He doesn't stay for very long. Is it his personality? Is there something else? I don't know. I just don't know. But he'd be a contender. And I think they've got to look closely at him. The question is, does he want to be down under with his friends and family, or could he stomach 4 years in the UK? We'll see. But what does this all mean for the legacy of Gats? Well, look, it's a legacy that's been cleaved in half. If you want to talk about the initial legacy, most successful Welsh coach in professional rugby history. The stats are 70 wins from 125 attempts, 56%. That's fantastic. That's very good. In the history of Wales, that is unbelievable. You might not be happy with that if you're the coach of the Springboks, the All Blacks, England, France, but Wales aren't quite in that tier in recent times. Let's take a look at his second stint, though. It's ugly. Cover your ears if you're a Welsh fan. 6 wins out of 26 attempts, 25%, just under. Yikes. Look, I don't think that blots the original legacy of Gats. He turned the team around. He was innovative. Great success under him. I think the legacy is still to be determined if he goes on and has success with another team that has a better depth chart, isn't in organizational chaos. Well, then we could maybe say, hey, coming back to coach Wales was like drinking from a poisoned chalice. No matter who stepped in, it was all going to turn to custard this time. But we'll see. We'll see. One man who isn't going to be coaching Wales, although they'd love to have him, is Rassie Erasmus. I don't think the Springboks want to lose him anytime soon. Rassie went on the internet and broke it this week. There's been some great coverage of what he tweeted. I want to talk about it. This is what Rassie had to say. England versus France had 83 kicks in play, 15 scrums, and only 36 minutes, BIP, ball in play. Yet, it was one of the more exciting games the Six Nations had in a while. Facts. It was very exciting. I don't think the shape of the game can be judged always on stats. I like it, Rassie. I think that's a bold take. And this speaks to the existential crisis in rugby right now. The powers that be want it to be more popular. They want to take over America. That's going to be hard. I live here. I know how hard it's going to be to get any space in the minds of American fans. It is so preoccupied with baseball, with basketball, with football. There's not much room left. If you can get 1 or 2% of the American sporting market, you will have hit pure gold. I think that's ambitious. They want to keep growing it in Asia. They want to keep growing it in European nations that don't have high playing numbers or watching numbers. And a lot of people in that top brass in World Rugby think that a faster game with more tries and more ball in play is the answer. But I agree with Rassie here. I don't think that is the answer. I think that diversity is the key to rugby being engaging as a spectacle. Now, I'm a Kiwi. I think it's great if the All Blacks can keep the ball in play because that is in their DNA. They have the attacking outside backs. They have the offloading mobile front row. They have the athletic loosies with all the skills. So does France, by the way. I don't mean to be New Zealand-centric. There are other teams that can play that style too who benefit from the more aerobic style of going coast to coast, racking up the phases, and beating you with attacking rugby, keeping the ball in play. Great. If you're skillful enough to execute that game plan and win, kudos. But there's a great saying in boxing and martial arts. Styles creates fights. So you take a New Zealand who wants to keep the ball in play, but you put him up against England who maybe want a slower game, who do want to kick more, who want to play territory, who want to play a different style. And that's exciting. That works for me as a spectacle. What was that thing that Gorilla Monsoon used to say on WWF commentary? The irresistible force meeting the immovable object. Attacking rugby versus more conservative rugby. Who's going to win? Styles create fights. Don't try and make everyone play the same style by artificially speeding up the game, minimizing the set piece, undermining the scrums by reducing them. The scrums mean something in rugby union. They don't mean anything in rugby league. You have a bunch of guys leaning on each other. That's not what we want to see. We want to see attrition. We want to see collisions. We want to see set piece brutality. That's why we love this sport. I want to see teams win in a way that suits their spirit and their DNA. If the Boks want to brutalize other teams, beat the stuffing out of them with their D-line, great. If England wants to kick teams to death, that is fine by me. And if the All Blacks want to run the ball from behind their own try line in the rain, even better. Styles create fights. And that's what Rassie's saying here. Let's not think that ball and play time is the holy grail. Let's not try and get everyone playing this aerobic Super Rugby style. You should be able to play whatever style suits you as a team. So Rassie, I salute you, sir. At first I thought he was kind of a Trumpian troll with his tweets, I'll be honest with you. I thought he was a bit of a joker. This guy's no jester. He's a king. When you've been involved in 2 Rugby World Cup wins, you have my respect. I take you seriously. I like his outspoken takes on World Rugby, and I think this one resonated for a reason. Guys, England's going to win the Six Nations. Maybe. Okay, it's a long shot, but it's possible. Let's talk about how it can happen. Now, when you first saw the draw for England, you probably went, oh, yikes. If you're an English fan, that is. Because you had Ireland and then you had France. Oof. Brutal. Brutal. But there's a glass half full way to look at it. Okay. We might be underdogs, but if we can get a win out of one of those games at least, maybe get a bonus point in the other, well, then we've got Scotland at home, Italy at home, and Wales in Cardiff. That's not a bad run home. Load up on the bonus points in those games. It all comes down to France versus Ireland. What if France beats Ireland? I think they might just. They underperformed against England. I think that Les Bleus will bounce back. I don't think Dupont has many shockers left in him. I think he probably got it out of his system against England. I think he is going to storm back to his very best form. I will not be surprised if France beats Ireland in Dublin. I will not be surprised at all. Which means that England is very much in the mix. And it all goes back to that very first game where they lost to Ireland, but in garbage time, in the last 8 minutes, they fashioned a couple of great tries. The Irish went to sleep. England got some points on the board. They nabbed a bonus point. They have 2 bonus points in the competition. Get a bonus point in each of these upcoming games. They're going to be in the reckoning. Don't get me wrong, guys. France and Ireland are still the favorites. But having beaten France on the weekend and having nabbed a crucial bonus point in round 1, England are not to be overlooked. They might just do it. Watch this space. It sounds like I'll be covering England versus Scotland on my live stream, and it is the weekend after next. I think I said when I asked you guys to comment on my post which game you want me to live stream, I think I said it was this weekend. I'm sorry, I've had a flu. I think my brain has rotted. But this weekend we do have Super Rugby. The Blues versus the Chiefs. It's a battle of the All Blacks' first 5/8. It's Damian McKenzie versus Beauden Barrett. Here's the kicker, though. They're both playing at fullback. That's going to be interesting. The Chiefs have Luke Jacobson captaining them. I think they might just win this, actually, even though the Blues are favorites to win and also to go all the way and win it back-to-back. Here's what I think about the Chiefs, though. I think they've been the bridesmaids so many times recently that at some point they're going to get across the line. A little bit like the Philadelphia Eagles did against the Kansas City Chiefs. They were fueled by that bitter taste of defeat. Well, the poor Chiefs have had to eat some turd sandwiches in the last few years. Some very, very, very galling losses in big games. I think that might just be fueling them. So I actually think the Chiefs are going to make the final again this year. That's my prediction. Hell, I'm just going to say it. They'll get the job done. They'll win it all. I might have egg on my face a few months from now, but that's my prediction. Guys, I'm a little worried about the level of engagement with Super Rugby. I wonder how well attended the games are going to be, how well watched they're going to be. I wonder how many of you are going to want to watch me commenting on it. But I'm going to stream this weekend, so join me there. Please leave a comment, like, if you want to see more of that kind of thing, and we'll get through Super Rugby together. Appreciate having you here, guys. I'll be back for another one real soon. Drop a comment below. I love talking with you guys. I'm doing more of these live streams, leaning into this beautiful community that we're building here. Can't get enough of it. So I will chat to you guys in the comments. But for now, it's over and out from Portland, Oregon. You have a great day. I'll catch you soon. Bye for now.